welcome to You Have Been Watching, the show that goes through the week's TV like a fox in the bins, but with fewer visible patches of mange. We'll be looking at TV in a week when X Factor judge Cheryl Cole has claimed she's not on a diet. "I don't want to be thin, I hate looking thin," she revealed in an exclusive lie to OK magazine. Auction channels Bid TV and Price Drop TV raised eyebrows when two supposedly live auctions were hosted simultaneously by the same presenter, Paul Evers. The scandal was discovered by Paul Evers, who was watching at home and in his office. Researchers claim the average TV viewer now watches 43 adverts a day. It's frightening to imagine the cumulative effect on the human brain of all those stultifying, intellectually deadening ITV shows in between. True. And there was uproar in the Big Brother house when Marcus called David a fat c***. If you haven't been following it this year, Marcus is the one with massive sideburns and David is the fat c***. Apparently. Anyway, joining me on the show this week are Frankie Boyle, Germaine Greer and Frank Skinner. Now, Deal or No Deal, a room full of contestants, 22 boxes and only one question. How much longer can such an obviously random game mesmerise our failing species? Well, quite a bit longer, it seems. It's shown in over 60 countries to the delight of literally several foreigners. Let's take a look. The myriad international versions of Deal or No Deal tend to come in one of two flavours. Either low-key studio capers, in which the boxes are opened by swamp monster members of the public, or big-budget glitzy affairs featuring leggy models.
Hi, ladies.
And twice as many whooping imbeciles in the audience. Some even feature celebrity appearances, such as Christina Aguilera, seen here being utterly overwhelmed by a cheap welcoming banner in the Turkish version.
Wow.
Of course, the British incarnation shuns glitz and pretty girls in favour of a bearded former tiny room in Bristol.
Welcome to the Dream Factory.
But wherever and however it's played, the game remains the same. Totally random. I wonder if an idiot... Oh, luckily for us, he does. It's funny because he's foreign. As you can see there, Deal or No Deal has established itself in every corner of the globe, just like fascism or Pringles. Deal or No Deal is completely random. There's no skill to it. It's not really a game at all. Why do you think it's so popular everywhere?
It's utterly random, but I think this is how it works, because Noel is into this cosmic ordering thing, isn't he? So I think he's suggesting that there is order in randomness, and it's not a TV show, it's a cult.
It's a completely random game, but people do try and impose a pattern on it. And it explains everything from sort of religion to, you know, why people say, oh, everything happens for a reason. That's one of my pet hates, is people who say, everything happens for a reason. Watch 1,000 episodes of this, and it will disabuse you of that fucking notion.
I actually watched, it's absolutely true. I watched it a few weeks ago, and they went to this old woman, and she opened the lid, and it said £50,000, and I shouted, "You idiot!" at the woman who'd opened the lid.
The thing that gets me about it, though, is I didn't understand about the people. I thought, who are these people who all love each other? Had they given them all E before they came on?
I think it's genuinely... I'd love to go on Deal or No Deal with a list, just a printed list of the sequence in which I want the boxes open. Just give it to Noel, put an iPod in and sit there.
Why has this format taken over the world when it's a rubbish format? It's a stupid... Ask the audience for their advice. If you need advice randomly pointing to a box, you'd better win top prize because you need fucking round-the-clock care.
Anyway, Deal or No Deal is a blank slate of a format, so it often gets dressed up in different ways to make it seem more exciting. For instance, in Britain, the money boxes are held by ordinary people who spent the week bonding in a travelodge. But take a look at the US version, in which I think I may have detected a hint of gratuitousness.
Now, ladies, please. We need your $1 million, so you have them. 3 more cases to open.
Number 1.
Number 1.
Germaine, I would imagine that when you see that, you think, well, my work here is done. Something extraordinary happened in an American episode last year. And anyone got any idea what that might have been?
Was it a racially motivated murder?
Weirdly, no. I'll give you a clue. It's involved someone you might not have expected to see there.
Osama bin Laden was one of the women in drag.
No. It's think former presidents.
Bush. Bush turned up, did the racially motivated murder, and left.
Well, let's take a look.
Tonight, it's our biggest show ever.
I'm thrilled.
Our commander-in-chief come on the show.
You have a Purple Heart, 2 Bronze Stars. You are the ultimate American. You are what we look up to.
Captain Kobus, thank you for your courageous service in Iraq.
He's talking to your son.
Triple his winnings on the deal wheel. Taking home $3 million. Don't miss one of our most intense games ever.
Laura and I are rooting for you tonight. Please.
Yes, the Americans are very good at slightly underplaying things, aren't they? More criminals appear on game shows, although it was funny when Mussolini went on total wipeout.
His head had been in one of the boxes.
They should have hazards in the boxes, shouldn't they? They should have a box of wasps. Noel Edmonds.
Do you think that in any way made it better?
No. I like the fact that our version is incredibly low rent. That seems to be part of the excitement of it.
Yes, that is part of the charm.
I like the way they've utterly devalued applause. I know. There's something really marvellous about that. You spend years trying to come up with jokes that might one day get applause. 50%.
OK, another question here. Fingers on buzzers for this. It's an international question. Who presented the Nigerian version of the show?
DCI Burnside from The Bell.
That would have been brilliant. No, but it is a familiar face. And he's a man.
It's John Fashanu, isn't it?
It is. It is John Fashanu. Let's see him in action.
Hello, I'm John Fashanu, and welcome to Deal or No Deal. Now, when the producer told me about Deal or No Deal, he said, you will have an opportunity to work on one of Nigeria's biggest entertainment shows. You will have an opportunity to work with 26 of the most gorgeous, elegant. And today, I can tell you, I have the best job in Africa. Hello, ladies!
Hi, John.
Wow, you see what I mean?
Slightly eerie. Yes, John Fashanu was the presenter. That was incredible. Of course, the major difference in the Nigerian version is the banker doesn't use a telephone. He sends you an email asking for your account details. It sounds like it was scripted by somebody who'd written one of those emails, actually.
It's nice, though. I like the idea he's got the best job in Africa. I thought that was Robert Mugabe. When I was associating, John Fashanu did when he played football, he did a very famous elbow into a player called Gary Mabbutt's head and shattered his eye socket.
I thought you said shat in his eye socket. He's an acrobat.
Yeah, he actually got a yellow card for that. Nowadays, it would have been a straight red, but, you know, the game's changed.
Of course, the British version shuns razzmatazz. We're more subdued and underfunded than that. Over here, the focus is on the emotional journey the contestants go on. Here's an especially heartbreaking example.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes. John, you're a bubbly bloke in the pub. Wipe them tears away, mate. Get your shoulders back. Come on. You can do it. Come on.
John, £1,010. Deal or no deal?
No deal.
OK.
Whatever you do, don't take my game
into your hearts. When you come up here, play it, win it. And next time, whoever comes up here, spank that banker for me, will you, please?
Yes, that was like an emotional roller coaster disaster. Yes, John won a paltry £50 there. The others in the studio were so upset, they passed a hat round for him afterwards. He went away with £50 and a hat.
It's like we watch the foreign versions and you go back to ours and you go, we're still weirder. Like, Noel is still weirder than anything else in the world.
I think he looks like a bloke who's going to a 70s theme party as Noel Edmonds.
Do join me after the break when we'll point and stare at Dragon's Den and watch a man drag pathetic, weeping drug addicts out of their homes and put them in jail. Hey, lovely. Welcome back. This week's TV Club pick was Dragon's Den. It's the business entertainment show which proves sometimes all you need to generate a huge amount of cash is one dream, two hands and 5 massive wankers. Let's take a look.
Dragon's Den is the BBC's well-known investortainment show in which 5 sickeningly rich sods sit in a row guarding satirical piles of cash while an endless series of hapless inventors parades before them begging for financial backing for unlikely-looking gidgets. The current dragons, seen here surrounded by a wobbly heat effect which makes them look like they're passing hot farts to their poo pipes, are smouldering salt and pepper moneybags James Caan, sour-faced ball-breaker Deborah Meaden, who looks like she could break a man's arm in a prison fight, rodenty stationery magnate Theo Paphitis, money supermarket ad twat Peter Jones, and TV's Dr. Sex Duncan Bannatyne.
I'll be short and sweet.
OK.
I'm out.
Yeah, that's what he says when he's done having sex with a lady. The show's hosted by tinsel-titted Teddy Ruxpin Evan Davis, and it's set inside what appears to be a psychopath's lair. Apparently it's even shot by the psychopath himself. The dragons pulling unimpressed expressions like the opposite of O-faces. Oh, and they occasionally shower some sweating desperado with investment cash. It's begging, basically, except it's televised, so it's totally respectable and even glamorous and shit, yeah?
I am not investing in you.
Dragon's Den there. Just like the dragons of legend, they guard a pile of treasure, breathe fire over anyone who dares offend them, and run a chain of shitty gymnasiums. It's in its 7th series now, Dragon's Den. Why do you think it's so popular?
It could be more popular. The interesting thing is I think people imagine that if they watch carefully, they'll figure out how to make money. And they haven't worked out that they are so hugely rich because they're very good at taking money from people, not giving it to them. So their chance of getting a fair deal is zero.
They've got too much acumen, haven't they? So they just go for the boring stuff. They need someone who's got money but is a bit thick, like John Terry or something like that.
Whole show. Because it's shot in what looks like a lair from the film Saw, or something like that. If I woke up there and were 5 millionaires sitting staring at me with money, I would think something utterly appalling was going to happen for their entertainment.
With that terrifying bloke as well, what's got Evan Davis?
Oh, God,
he looks like he should be asking you a riddle in a Tim Burton movie.
We got some comments from viewers. They tweeted us, which is modern. Somebody called Know the Ledge said Evan Davis looks like he has a fly on the end of his nose, which is cruel.
No, he's slightly cross-sectional. It's like Nosferatu, the vampire. He has that kind of...
He's the actual head of the economics department at the BBC, and he's taken a sabbatical during the biggest recession in world history, so he can present a show about fucking hand gliders for cats.
Obviously, it's stressful pitching to 5 heartless bastards. Let's take a look at the uncomfortable moment when a man called Andy Harmer requested £100,000 for his business idea, the Double Dates, a lookalike dating experience.
What my concept is... Tony, I can't talk. OK, my idea comes from being a celebrity for the day. What I've done is I've created... I can't talk. For The Double Dates has 30 top celebrity lookalikes in the industry. I've actually brought a couple of my guys along with me today. How you doing, Dragon? Right.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing?
Awkward Stuff. Awkward Stuff, that was a lookalike dating agency. He was ineptly pitching there.
I thought that was a brilliant David Beckham, the I can't talk. An ingredient that not many Beckham impersonators think to bring to the role.
It's a fundamentally flawed idea, in that you pay money to go in Jack Sparrow.
Don't bother with lookalikes. It is go on a date with you and they get paid for it.
Who would you go with?
but thanks for that vote of confidence. God, is it going that badly?
The Dragons love nothing more than pissing on people's cornflakes, metaphorically speaking, or possibly literally, in Duncan Bannatyne's case. The worst offender is Peter I've got more money than you Jones. Here he is, displaying his characteristic charm.
Press, you've got a website, you're getting out there, and do you know what? There are people that buy rubbish. You've given nothing away that actually would suggest that you've got a business here that's going to make money, apart from perhaps feather your own cap and put money in your pocket, which clearly you need because you couldn't afford a suit today. It's the first time it's ever happened to me. I'm speechless. And I'm going to ask you for where's the company, what we're doing, how we're doing, and you're going to go, I don't know, Peter. What we do, another £350. Wow, what's that? I think it'll be about as successful as investing in a chocolate teapot. I don't struggle to get on dates because I'm seriously good looking and I'm wealthy.
Astonishing arrogance there from Peter Jones. What do you think of it? He seems to think that... A lot of the Dragons seem to think they're sort of witty villains in a film, basically coming out with puns. He did a bit there where he said, I'm speechless, and then mouthed, I'm out. What a prick. Discuss.
I don't think any of us can understand why he does the commercials for... what is BT Vision and...
MoneySupermarket.com.
And MoneySupermarket.com.
That's for the art.
You would think that was... The whole point of being a millionaire is you don't have to suck that kind of dick, I'd have thought.
I haven't seen that advert. Which is your favourite dragon?
Definitely Duncan. He seems wise. He has a sort of a... You know, that sort of... You know what I mean by Scottish wisdom? I imagine him living on land and the local people coming to him and asking him about crops and him knowing about it.
I'm certain he lives on land. He's just going to sprout gills at the end of the show and slip into a canal.
Well,
He also says the word ridiculous like nobody's ever... He's got... That's ridiculous. No, that's not Scottish, Duncan. You said that fucking backwards. It's like the dwarf in Twin Peaks.
He wanted to... Well, I've always wanted to see somebody go on there and go, come out with a product, like a strawberry drink, and say, yeah, try this, and they all try it, and you go, that's not the product. What I'm selling is antidote.
I'd like to see a show where they've got to go in front of billionaires and compete for their place on the space ark once the Earth is destroyed. And Evan Davis comes out covered in gold paint and says, welcome to Super Dragon's Den, mission to Mars!
OK, obviously needs a snappy title. The Thingy. What was that? The Thingy. Frank?
It's a thing that you put on spades when you're digging the garden, so you don't have to bend your back so much.
You're absolutely right. Point to you. Let's take a look.
Tim wiring £60,000 cash injection into their oddly named garden accessory, the Thingy.
When me and Tim first designed our first prototype, and we simply couldn't think of a name to call it, we kept referring to the product as the Thingy, and it simply stuck.
I've got to tell you, this is the opposite of branding.
Right.
You said we used a word that was completely generic.
Yes.
So that nobody will know what we're talking about. Got to tell you, it's probably the worst idea I've come across for a brand.
I should point out, sorry, that this product is actually called the attachment Thingy. That's what it's actually under.
Guys, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm out.
Wonderful stuff, the ridiculous thingy there, saying she wasn't going to invest in that gardening implement.
Who's spending so long digging that they need...
There's a few quick questions about the dragons themselves. What range of products has Peter Jones recently put his name to? Frankie?
Litter trays for the elderly. Not there, Grandma, in the corner!
Astonishingly, even he isn't as heartless as you. No? Think they come in pairs. Think...
Trousers.
No, think underwear for the feet. Frank.
Socks.
Yes!
That was like meeting a Romanian exchange student or something. Underwear for the feet. And socks.
The answer is a range of socks, cleverly called the Peter Jones Sock Collection. What has Deborah Meaden not done for the past 25 years?
Is it being the headmistress in Grange Hill?
She does look like...
She does look like Bridget the Midget.
No, it's to do with the food.
Cooked.
Yes! Cooked, yes. Well done, Germaine. Yes, she claims she hasn't cooked a meal in 25 years. Her husband does the cooking, unless she calls to say, I'll tell you where I am, I'm out. At the end of that, Frank is in the lead.
How did that happen?
Now, as any TV viewer knows, real-life crime is ugly, depressing and looks cool when edited in time to a thumping beat and a guitar solo. A good example is Dog the Bounty Hunter. It's currently showing on Bravo. It stars a man with a stupid haircut and it looks like this.
Bloody hell, Michaela Strachan's let herself go. Oh, anyway. At first glance, Dog the Bounty Hunter appears to be a bad 80s action movie starring a man who looks like Sir Alan Sugar impersonating a gay lion. But it's not a film, it's a docu-soap focusing on Dwayne the Dog Chapman. Dog and his family are just your average bunch of psychotic-looking biker types who live, love, laugh and apprehend wanted criminals together. Most episodes consist of Dog and co. tracking down a particular bail-jumping bad guy by following a familiar ceremony. First, a weekly group prayer.
Lord bless us as we go out today after this fugitive, and let us all remember that he does...
Depressing hunt as they wander around grim neighbourhoods looking for tip-offs. The payoff consists of Dog and the rest of his pack flushing the criminal mastermind out. Not too hard, since most of the time the criminal mastermind is a bewildered junkie. Curiously, after a charming interlude in which Mr. Wrong's car, most of the crims turn out to be apologetic or relieved to be caught.
It's been a pleasure getting respect.
Counselling like he's reading aloud from the Little Book of Calm.
It's pretty late in life to be doing what you're doing, but it's not too late to stop.
And then everyone's learned something and Dog can go home, back to his kennel where presumably he licks his own balls before going to sleep, although they don't show that bit.
Yeah. I had a bounty on my head once. I was showing off in the newsagents. True story. Now, Frank,
all the time, I think it's brilliant. There's a lot of love in Dog the Bounty Hunter. His family, they're all really, really close. All his family, they all go out together to catch... And he's nice to the criminal. There's one, because the criminals all sort of like him, he's got this guy on the floor and he's got the cuffs on and the bloke looks round at It's brilliant.
Well, a lot of the time they're people who are on drugs, and I think that's going to help you get off drugs if you're on crystal meth and then suddenly Lion-O turns up. I'd do anything he said.
The thing is, he's a bounty hunter, but he's a bounty hunter in Hawaii. Like the softest place in the world. It's like CSI, the Hay Literary Festival.
Germaine, what did you make of him?
I love it. I love its outrageous vulgarity. It is so incredible. The interesting thing to me is he doesn't see the criminal classes as kind of person, but it's absurd. It is ridiculous, and I love it.
Can I just say, I'm really moved by that. This is the closest I'll ever get to seeing Dog the Bounty Hunter on... It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
He's an incredibly conspicuous character, isn't he, for someone who's on the trail of people. How would you describe him to the police if he committed a crime?
I think he looks like the Hell's Angel Les Battersby.
He's kind of a a glam, heavy metal, biker, ballerina, god botherer.
He looks like Sid James if he joined Bon Jovi.
Do you know what he looks like? Do you know the Native Americans would wear the skin of the animal they were hunting? So they'd wear a wolf skin or something like that. He looks like Hulk Hogan has gone out to hunt Noel Edmonds. Just wearing Noel.
No, I'm going to give you a point just for that description. Well done, Frankie. That's a point to you. Good. Dog isn't just a bounty hunter, however. He's also a philosopher. Here are some of his deeper moments.
This is the life of crime. There's no bucket at the end of this rainbow. There's no reward, and there's no awards.
When I ended up in prison in 1977, I looked out, and all I could see was fields and fields of cotton. Until you're ready to admit smoke of dope ain't cool, you're gonna see a lot of cotton.
Instead of starting at the top of the mountain to work our way down, we're starting at the bottom and work our hope, and a little bit of hope adds up to a lot of hope. I do have hope for her. You know, hope against hope. You know, hope against dope. I do have hope.
They're very much a riddle wrapped in an enigma draped in bullshit. Is that unfair of me, though?
Yes, I love those bits. He's an urban philosopher who loves his prey.
The thing is, he's a performance. He's not a reality.
I'll say, yeah.
But I think it's a pretty groovy performance.
No, I've always quite liked that thing in Americans where they'll sort of spout wisdom without necessarily trees, isn't it? And they're just, they just try and find it where he's really anti-drugs, and there's some good anti-drug stuff in it, and the theme tune is sung by Ozzy Osbourne. It's like the theme to Last of the Summer Wine being sung by Harold Shipman.
Dog published his autobiography in 2007. What was it called?
Was it called Somebody Else Must Have Written This? I mean, look at me.
No, that would be a startlingly frank title. No.
Was it called Looking for a Lead?
Was it Hard as Nails, Tales of Jails, Bells and Fruit-Based Cocktails?
No, I think... No.
It was called You Can Run, But You Can't Hide.
It was. Well done, Germaine. Point to you. It's a pretty good impersonation as well. OK, at the end of that, Frank, you are in the lead. Yeah, see you after the break. Hello, viewer. Welcome back. Now it's time for our final quick-fire round, in which our hitherto jocular badinage is abruptly replaced by cold and pitiless interrogation. So without further ado, can we have a tense quiz show sting, please?
It's like Diagnosis Murder did a holiday special in France.
All right. What was thrown across the studio during an interview on last week's Andrew... No.
A cricket ball.
No, why?
Well, I think there's the Ashes might be happening.
Yes.
But they don't demonstrate it on the surgical.
No. A mobile phone.
Yes. Let's have a look.
Just go to that Select Committee report first.
But we are now free of Iraq, and therefore... I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, it's breaking the rules, having a phone. But I think... If you mentioned the fact that they were too focused on Iraq, isn't that part of the problem? We seem to have, as far as the public's concerned, we sort of on the side did this thing in Afghanistan, which is now taking so many lives.
There may have been perfectly good operational security reasons for playing it that way. I don't think I should comment there.
But do you think, one of the things that the government, I have to turn that phone off, but one of the things that the ministers have sort of struggled with is the idea that this has been a success, it's costing all of these lives, and yet it's not actually...
Nice. Admirable calm under pressure there. Yes, General Sir Mike Jackson threw his phone across the studio after he couldn't get it to... Did Sharon Osbourne say last week that she owes her success to him? Frank.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Frank.
It's her ugliness.
Yes, I'll give you that. It's actually her charm. Because she said it's her charm because she said because of her short, fat, hairy frame, she has had to rely on her charm. Well done, Frank. Point to you. OK, next question. Danny Dyer announced this week he is to quit presenting TV programmes. Why?
Didn't someone threaten to kick his head in? He did a gangster and his feud with another gangster, and as happens when you do that sort of thing, someone phoned him up and went, "Don't talk about the gangsters," and he's had to can it.
No, I'll tell you what, it was slightly closer to home than that.
There's a gangster outside his house.
No, it's to do with how he was treated on television.
He wasn't on here, by any chance, was he?
I'm going to give you that.
Hold up, you...
He's quit partly because of this show. In his regular... No! Not hosting Deadliest Men. He's slightly duller than A World in Which He Is. He announced it in his August column in Zoo magazine, which is a publication I'm sure you're all very familiar with. Dyer writes, there was a thing on this channel in the mouth. One of them said because everyone wants to punch him, and another said... And you were there! That was partly your fault.
It was partly my fault. Well, how fantastic.
I genuinely felt bad. I felt bad when I read that. I genuinely felt bad. I thought, oh, don't give up, Danny. I don't know if you've read this. It's very much brain food, his column. Here's another thought he's got this week. It's a sepia photo of a topless woman, and underneath he's written, scientists reckon evolution is making women more beautiful. To be fair, if you look at old Victorian pictures, the birds were fucking dogs. They all had big square jaws, so maybe it's true. There are plenty of sorts knocking around London these days anyway.
What does it mean there are plenty of sorts?
Attractive women.
Oh, OK, I've never heard that before. Thank you, Danny. T-shirt with that on, that he won't be able to read.
What do you make of... Do you think he's got a point there, Germaine?
No, but in those days, creatures, and they liked them like that. The problem now is...
That's a bit sexist.
That we're all... And if you've got estrogen in your system, it's militating to make your...
End of the show! That's the end of the show, and I can reveal that Frank has won. Well done. Don't forget to watch Desperate Romantics for next week's TV Club, and my guests will be David Mitchell, Ben Miller and Holly Walsh. Now go away.
Submit your own TV reviews to TV Club. Visit channel4.com/watching to find out more. You might find you're hiding behind this sofa during Film 4 Horror tonight. Mia Farrow stars in the Oscar-winning Rosemary's Baby at 11:20.